My wife called me at work, panic in her voice. Come home now. Something in her tone sliced through me. I didn't ask questions. I just grabbed my keys and bolted. The drive back was a blur of red lights I didn't stop for and horns I ignored. But nothing prepared me for the sight when I turned onto our street. Police cars. 3 of them. Flashing blue and red, painting our white picket fence like a crime scene from a movie. Neighbors stood in clusters, whispering, watching, judging. My son, Caleb, 12 years old, pale as chalk, ran up to me before I even parked the car. Dad, he gasped, trembling. Don't go inside. What happened? I demanded, already halfway to the door. Mom doesn't want you to see. I pushed past him. The moment I stepped inside, I felt it. That shift in air. Like walking into a room right after a fight. The kind where souls get bruised. Living room, empty. Kitchen, a shattered wine glass on the floor. And then I heard voices. Low. Urgent. I followed them. To the bedroom. Our bedroom. The door was cracked open. 2 officers stood just outside, one with a notepad, the other talking in hushed tones. My wife, Madison, sat on the edge of the bed, legs crossed, crying, but the kind of cry you rehearse. Designer mascara streaked down her face like melted lies. And standing beside her, holding her hand like he owned her, was him. Detective Shane Ellis. Tall, built like a gym membership. And, oh yeah, her ex. She looked up, saw me, flinched, then dropped the act. Tom, I told you not to come in, she said flatly. Just like that. No panic anymore. No emotion. Just cold, deliberate words. Why are the cops here? What the hell happened? I asked, scanning the room like it held the answers. The detective stepped forward. Sir, we're conducting a private investigation. We'd appreciate some space. I ignored him. My eyes locked onto a red lace bra draped across our lamp. Not mine. Not hers, either. Not even her style. It reeked of someone trying too hard to be exciting. Then I saw it. His badge was off. His shirt untucked. The sheets wrinkled. Oh, my gut dropped like a brick in a well. You called me. I whispered, looking at Madison. You said come home now. That it was urgent. She lit a cigarette with shaking hands. It was. I didn't think you'd get here this fast. You called the cops because what? Someone broke in. She blew smoke toward the ceiling. No. I called the cops because I needed someone here to stop you from doing something stupid when you found out. What the hell are you talking about? I felt the heat rising in my neck. The kind of heat that warns a man he's about to do something regrettable. I'm leaving you, Tom. She stood up now, slowly, like a villain revealing their master plan. Shane and I, we've been reconnecting. And today, we decided it was time. You've been screwing him. My voice was low, controlled. The rage simmered just beneath. Don't be dramatic, she sneered. We've been intimate. Multiple times. You were just too busy playing office hero to notice. I looked at the cop next to her. You're supposed to protect people, not ruin marriages. He didn't flinch. You should go cool off. Madison walked over and leaned in close enough for me to smell her perfume, the one I bought for our anniversary. I didn't want you to find out like this, she whispered. But honestly, it was bound to happen. You stopped being exciting years ago. Then louder, for the room. And I'm not going to apologize for wanting more than a husband who schedules intimacy between meetings and pays more attention to spreadsheets than me. That's when it hit me. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't guilt. It was planned, calculated, executed. They wanted me to walk into this, to see it, to feel it. And then what? Leave broken? Cry in my car? I didn't cry. Not then. I turned, walked out of the room without another word. Past the officers, past my son, who stood there watching it all unravel like a horror show he wasn't allowed to leave. Dad, Caleb whispered. I placed a hand on his shoulder, forced the faintest smile. Go pack a bag. We're leaving. Because deep down, I knew this wasn't the worst part. It was just the beginning. The drive to my brother's place was silent. Caleb sat in the passenger seat, staring out the window, clutching his backpack like it was the only stable thing left in his world. I wanted to say something comforting, but I couldn't even lie to myself, let alone him. Every word I thought of sounded fake, like the words Madison had thrown at me over the years. It's just stress. You're imagining things. I would never do that to you. She had done all of it. When we pulled into Jason's driveway, he was already standing outside like he'd been waiting. I didn't even have to explain. He saw it on my face. That look of a man who had everything ripped out from under him, but was still somehow standing. Barely. He hugged Caleb first, then looked at me. Guest room's yours. Beer's in the fridge. Say the word if you want something stronger. I didn't. Not yet. My mind was still back in that bedroom, seeing that cheap red bra, the unmade bed, the badgeless detective standing way too comfortable in my house, beside my wife. She didn't even flinch when I said her name. Didn't blink when I called her out. She wasn't sorry. That night, after Caleb went to sleep, Jason and I sat on the porch. I told him everything. Every detail. His jaw clenched more with each word. She called the cops to protect herself from your reaction? He asked, disbelief laced with fury. She set the scene, I said, dead inside. Made it look like she was scared of what I'd do, just in case I snapped. Jason shook his head. That's some cold, manipulative bullsh**, man. I laughed. A hollow, broken sound. You think that's bad? Wait until I tell you what she said to me 2 days ago. She kissed me goodbye on her way to yoga and told me she'd cook my favorite dinner when I got home. Turns out, she was probably warming up for round 2 with Mr. Badge. He didn't say anything after that. What was there to say? The next morning, I got up early and went back to the house. Not inside, just parked across the street. I had to see if she'd pretend like nothing happened. And sure enough, at exactly 8:15 a.m., she walked out in a tight blouse and heels I hadn't seen before. She looked happy, relaxed, like a woman who'd gotten what she wanted. Then the real gut punch, Shane's car pulled up. She got in without hesitation. Kissed him. Right there, in front of our house. I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. Every fiber of me wanted to slam the gas, pull up behind them, drag him out of the car, and make him regret every choice he made that led him to my wife. But I didn't. I just sat there, watching them drive away. And I realized something. She never even looked back. No guilt. No remorse. Just the confident walk of a woman who'd burned her bridge and didn't care what drowned behind her. Later that afternoon, I went inside. She was gone, as expected. I walked through the house slowly, taking it all in. Every photo, every piece of furniture, now felt like it belonged to someone else. The memories were stained, tainted. There was no safety in this home anymore. And then I saw the folder. It was sitting on my desk in the home office. A bright blue file, labeled in her handwriting, legal documents. Inside were 2 things. A signed draft of divorce papers. And a letter. Not handwritten. Typed. Like a business memo. Tom, I'm sorry you found out the way you did, but this has been a long time coming. I felt invisible for years. I needed something more, and Shane gave me that. I hope you'll understand one day that this was about me, not you. Please sign the papers when you're ready. I'll be staying with Shane for now. Madison. About her, not me. That line echoed in my skull like a shot. She'd wrecked a marriage, lied to a child, humiliated me in front of strangers, and all she could say was it was about her. I didn't scream. I didn't smash anything. Instead, I opened a drawer and pulled out my old camera. The one I hadn't touched since our wedding anniversary trip to Lake Tahoe. Funny how I'd stopped taking photos around the same time she started working late. I packed the essentials, left a note for Caleb, and drove 3 hours north to the cabin. No cell signal. No Madison. Just trees, silence, and the sound of my own heartbeat trying to slow down. I needed time. Not to forgive her. That wasn't even on the table. I needed time to figure out who I was without her lies around my neck. Because she was never going to come clean. And I wasn't done discovering just how deep her betrayal went. 3 days in the woods didn't fix anything, but it gave me the silence I needed to hear myself think. At night, I stared at the ceiling of the cabin and replayed everything. The subtle changes in Madison's routine over the last few months. The fake smiles, the cold hands, the way she flinched every time I touched her. The moments I told myself she was just tired or stressed. I lied to myself so she didn't have to. That was the worst part. On the 4th morning, I drove back. Not home. I went to the bank. The woman behind the counter was polite, too polite, actually. Her fingers hovered a second too long on the keyboard, eyes scanning the screen with that awkward pause that tells you something's wrong. I'm just confirming something, she said with a tight smile. There have been some changes to the account. I raised an eyebrow. What kind of changes? She leaned in, lowered her voice. Mrs. Whitaker withdrew a large sum 3 days ago, $25,000, and she closed the joint savings. I stared at her. My heart didn't even race, it just sank. She did it right after I left for the cabin. Tried to clean me out while I was off the grid. I forced a nod, thanked the teller, and walked outside into the sun, which suddenly felt like it was shining on a man who didn't exist anymore. She wasn't just cheating on me. She was erasing me. I called my lawyer next. The second I told him the details, he cursed under his breath and said, "Get ready. This isn't just a divorce, man. This is war." The real confirmation came a few hours later when I went to pick up Caleb from school. He walked out slowly, dragging his backpack, face flushed and tense. "Your mom pick you up yesterday?" I asked, trying to sound normal. He nodded. Didn't say anything. "What's going on?" I asked again gently. He looked up, hesitated, then said, "She brought him. Shane. He was driving. Mom said I should get used to it." My jaw clenched. "She say anything else?" I asked, keeping my voice calm for his sake. He nodded. "She said if you loved me, you wouldn't make this harder than it has to be." That was it. That was the moment I knew. I was done playing her game. Back at Jason's, I sat down and laid it all out for him. The money, the fake tears, the way she was already trying to turn Caleb into a pawn in whatever twisted game she was playing. "She's planning something bigger," Jason said. "This isn't just about leaving. She wants to destroy you." "She already started," I muttered. That night, I couldn't sleep. I went through my old phone backups. Photos. Videos. I wasn't looking for memories. I was looking for proof. And I found it. Hidden in a folder labeled Work Event, July. A video clip. Less than 10 seconds. Madison at a hotel bar, kissing Shane. It was Caleb's birthday weekend. She told me she had a conference and couldn't reschedule. She'd left our son on his birthday to go play house with her cop lover. I sat there staring at the screen like it was a window into a past I never saw clearly until now. And then it hit me. I had more. I always saved everything. Emails, messages, receipts. And she never thought I was paying attention. But I was now. The next day, I met with the lawyer again. We started building a case: adultery, financial abuse, parental manipulation. And that little video? Gold. "You're gonna win this," the lawyer said. "She's smart, but not smart enough." I nodded. But I wasn't doing this for revenge. I was doing it because I needed to protect my son. Because I needed to reclaim the part of myself she'd been eroding for years. That night, I sat down with Caleb. "You know I love you, right?" I said. He nodded. "And none of this is your fault." "I know. I'm gonna fight for you. No matter what she says, I'm not going anywhere." He didn't cry. He just leaned into me and whispered, "I want to live with you." That was the only confirmation I needed. The storm wasn't over. Not even close. But I'd stopped being the man who got blindsided in his own home. Now I was the man she should have never underestimated. Madison served me with a restraining order 2 days later. It was delivered by a deputy with the same dead-eyed expression I imagined Shane had when he filled out the paperwork. The paper accused me of being emotionally volatile and potentially violent. It was crafted like a weapon, cold, precise, and designed to isolate me from my own home. She even listed Caleb as a potential witness to distress. That word, witness, burned hotter than anything else. She was turning my son into a legal chess piece. I called my lawyer immediately. "This is bullsh*T. I snapped, pacing the guest room like a caged animal. "It's strategy," he said. "She's trying to preempt your case with fear tactics. Don't take the bait." But I'd already taken it. I was shaking. Not because I was scared, because I couldn't believe someone I once held at night could lie this effortlessly. I'd been careful, controlled, civil, and now I was being painted as the threat. I wanted to drive over and scream in her face. Remind her of the years I spent building that life. Remind her of the nights she cried about him. How he broke her heart in college. How he used her. And how I picked up the pieces. But I didn't. Instead, I sent Caleb a voice message. Short, calm. "Hey, bud. I know this is weird. I just want you to know I'm okay. I'm fighting for us. Be strong. I'll see you soon." He didn't reply for hours. When he finally did, it was just a text. "I hate him. He's pretending to be my dad." I stared at those words for a long time. My chest ached. Jason walked in, handed me a beer. "She's dragging you through fire. She's trying to break me before the hearing. And is it working?" I looked up. Not a chance. We filed a counter-motion the next morning. My lawyer requested an emergency hearing to contest the restraining order and petitioned for temporary custody based on emotional manipulation. We submitted the video from the hotel, financial records showing the emptied savings, and my digital logs proving I was at the cabin when she filed. She's good at playing victim, my lawyer said. But now we show the judge what kind of victim walks away with 25 grand, and a cop who happens to be under internal review for misconduct. That last part? I'd found it myself. Turns out, Shane had a reputation for inappropriate behavior with witnesses. Nothing stuck, but enough red flags to raise suspicion. I printed the reports, filed them under my name, and submitted them through legal channels. Nothing illegal, just facts. But facts with teeth. The night before the hearing, Caleb called me. Real call, not text. She yelled at me tonight, he said quietly, because I didn't say goodbye to him. Are you okay? He hesitated. Yeah, but I miss you. She says I can't see you because you're dangerous. I closed my eyes, fists clenched. I'm not dangerous, I said softly. I'm your dad. I know. That hearing was a war zone. Madison wore a black dress and crocodile tears. She held a tissue like it was a performance prop. Shane sat behind her, arms folded, oozing arrogance. They tried to make me look like an unstable man unraveling in grief. But then we presented the footage, the audio, the withdrawals, and finally, the records on Shane. The room shifted. The judge leaned forward. Madison's lawyer looked like he swallowed a nail. Then came the turning point. Caleb's school counselor testified. She spoke clearly, calmly. Caleb has expressed anxiety at home, specifically when Mr. Ellis is present. He described hearing arguments, being told to avoid phone calls from his father, and said directly, I think Mom is trying to erase Dad. Madison's face froze. Completely. When the judge granted me temporary shared custody and lifted the restraining order, she didn't even look at me. She just grabbed her purse and stormed out. Shane followed. I didn't gloat. I didn't smile. But when Caleb walked into the lobby and hugged me, I knew this fight was far from over. And I was ready for the next round. Madison didn't come to drop off Caleb. She sent Shane. He pulled up in her car like he owned it. Aviators on, chewing gum like a bored teenager. Caleb stepped out of the passenger side with his backpack half-zipped and eyes down. Shane didn't even get out. Just sat there, engine running, music low. I could hear it even from the porch, some smug synth beat pulsing like it had something to prove. I didn't walk toward the car. I waited. Caleb made it halfway up the walkway before Shane rolled down the window and called out, Be back by 6, big man. I raised my hand, stiff, mechanical. I wanted to walk up and punch through the window. Not for the insult. For the fact that she let him drive my son around, like it was nothing. Like he had a right. Caleb dropped his bag inside and hovered near the door. Is it okay if I just chill in my room for a bit? Of course. He disappeared upstairs. I stood there in the living room, staring at the front door, the car already gone. My chest burned. Not like fire, more like acid. Like the longer I stayed still, the more it would eat through me. Jason came by with lunch. We sat on the patio, watching clouds move too fast across the sky. She's testing you, he said. Every move. She's watching your reaction, seeing if she can provoke something to use in court. I nodded. I know. I'm just waiting for her to slip. People like her always do. Later that night, after Caleb went to sleep, I checked his backpack. Not because I didn't trust him, because I didn't trust her. And sure enough, tucked inside one of the folders was a letter, folded 4 times, written in her handwriting. Do not let him talk you into staying longer. Remember what we talked about. Stay focused. He'll act sweet, but it's all a trap. I love you more than he ever could. I sat there holding the paper like it was poison. She was programming him, turning him into a soldier for her side. And I could see it working. He was quieter, more guarded. Like someone always listening for a hidden mic. The next day, I asked him gently, Your mom ever talked to you about what's happening between us? He looked down, then nodded. What does she say? That you're pretending. That you're faking being nice, so I'll tell the judge I want to live with you. It hit me like a brick to the throat. I'm not pretending, Caleb. I know. I didn't push further. I just reached out and squeezed his shoulder. That night, I called my lawyer again. I want full custody. She won't go down easy, he warned. I don't care. She's trying to turn him into a mouthpiece. We started digging. Everything. Her bank statements, phone logs, social media. And that's when we found it. An account under a fake name, used to post in private forums. One of them was a community for cop wives dealing with custody threats. She was venting, posting screenshots, lying publicly about me being emotionally abusive. And one post was gold. He still thinks I just fell for Shane. Truth is, I never stopped seeing Shane since 2021. Tom just gave me a reason to finally jump. She had admitted it. She cheated for over 2 years. Lied to my face. To our son. Built an entire second life under my roof. We printed it, timestamp and all. My lawyer leaned back, looking at the papers. This will bury her. And I wanted that. I wanted her to feel the same kind of helplessness she shoved down my throat day after day. But more than anything, I wanted Caleb out of her house. Because no kid deserves to be raised in a war zone of manipulation and poisoned smiles. The next hearing was in 2 weeks. And Madison had no idea what was coming. She showed up to the next hearing like she was walking a red carpet. Tight beige dress. High heels she couldn't quite balance on. And that smug little grin she wore whenever she thought she was in control. Shane walked behind her like a loyal dog. Same suit. Same empty stare. He didn't speak. He never did. Just stood there like a wall she could hide behind. But today wasn't hers. Today, I had the ammo. My lawyer started slow, laid out the emotional manipulation, the school counselor's testimony, the false restraining order. But when he brought out the forum post, the courtroom shifted. That quiet gasp from someone in the back row, that wasn't just noise. That was the sound of truth dropping like a hammer. We projected the screenshot on the courtroom screen. There it was, in black and white. Her username, the date, the confession. The judge looked at her. Mrs. Whitaker, are you admitting you've had an ongoing affair with Mr. Ellis since 2021, while still married? Her mouth opened, closed, then twisted into a half smile. I was venting. People say things online they don't mean. Is it true or not? The judge pressed. Silence. Do you deny the post is yours? More silence. Her lawyer leaned over and whispered something. Probably, shut up before you drown us both. She nodded slowly, face hardening. I was unhappy, she said finally. That doesn't make me a bad mother. No, my lawyer cut in. But lying for 2 years, manipulating your son, attempting to paint your husband as unstable, and confessing to premeditated deceit online, that's not just unhappiness. That's dangerous. The judge looked directly at Madison. I'm issuing a full psychological evaluation, and pending results, temporary full custody will be granted to the father. Visitation rights will be reviewed after evaluation. Court adjourned. She exploded. No, you can't do this, she shrieked, standing up so fast her chair clattered to the ground. He's manipulating all of you. He's fake. He's always been fake. Court officers moved in. You're just mad I beat you at your own game, I said cold. She looked at me, eyes wild. You think you've won? This isn't over. But it was. She just didn't know it yet. Back outside, Caleb was waiting with Jason. The second he saw me walk out alone, his face lit up. He ran over, threw his arms around me. Can I come home now? He asked. Yeah, bud, I whispered. We're going home. That night, I let him sleep in my bed. He fell asleep in seconds, like a weight had finally been lifted. I stayed up watching him breathe, wondering how long it would take to undo what she'd done. Later, Jason and I sat on the porch again. He cracked a beer, handed me one. You look like a man who just crawled out of a burning building. I took a sip. Feels about right. What are you going to do now? I don't know. Start over. Figure out who I am when I'm not trying to fix someone who's hellbent on breaking me. He nodded. You know she's not going to go quietly. I'm counting on it. Every move she makes now, she's being watched. He laughed once. You're a different man than you were a month ago. I looked at the stars and thought of everything she'd tried to erase. My name, my dignity, my son. Yeah, I said. Now I know what I'm capable of when someone pushes me far enough. The next few weeks were quiet. Caleb settled in. He started talking more, laughing again, playing the piano he hadn't touched in months. Then, one night, he came into the living room with his tablet. She sent me a video, he said. Want to see it? I hesitated. Did you watch it? Yeah. I didn't believe it, though. He handed it to me. Madison, standing in her kitchen, holding a wine glass, mascara perfect. Recording herself. I know your dad has you thinking I'm some monster, she said, voice soft. But just remember, he wasn't always the victim. He made mistakes, too. He ignored me. He failed me. I just want you to know I never meant to hurt you. She smiled at the end. Sweet. So fake it made my skin crawl. Caleb stared at me. Why does she lie so much? I set the tablet down. Because lying is easier than facing what she's become. He nodded. I'm glad I live here now. Me too, kid. Me Me too. And just like that, for the first time in months, I felt something that had been missing. Peace. Not because the war was over, but because I had finally stopped letting her write the story. A week later, I got an email from her lawyer. She wanted to settle. No fight, no more hearings, no custody battles. Just a quiet agreement. Split the remaining assets, give up her claim to the house, and allow supervised visits with Caleb once a month. No apologies. No accountability. Just retreat. It was the first smart move she'd made since this all began. I signed without hesitation. There was nothing left to negotiate. The woman I married no longer existed. Or maybe she never did. Maybe she'd always been this way, and I was just too blind, too in love, to see it. The night after I signed, Caleb and I were sitting in the backyard, fire pit crackling between us. He roasted marshmallows while I nursed a scotch, letting the burn cleanse what was left of my anger. "Are we okay now?" he asked. I looked at him, really looked. He wasn't the scared, quiet kid from a month ago. He'd grown, fast, too fast. But there was strength in him now, a resilience I wish I could have shielded him from, but also something I was proud of. "We're better than okay," I said. "We're free." He smiled. A real one. The kind I hadn't seen in months. Then he said something I'll never forget. "Next time you fall in love, make sure she doesn't hate who you are when no one's looking." It hit harder than any lie Madison ever told me. Later, when he went to bed, I sat alone by the fire, staring into the flames. I thought about everything. About the woman who once whispered she couldn't live without me, who ended up shattering us like it was sport. About Shane, and how easily a man can throw away his badge for a body and a thrill. And about me, the version of me that used to apologize for everything, who smiled through disrespect, who mistook silence for peace. He was gone now, replaced by someone sharper, quieter, more dangerous in the ways that matter. If I could go back, I wouldn't save her. I'd save me sooner. So here's what I learned. For any man who's walking where I've walked, if she lies to your face and expects a kiss in return, leave. If she makes you question your sanity to protect her secrets, run. If she uses your child as a weapon, fight. But above all, never forget who you were before she broke you. Because that man is still there. And he deserves better. I do. And now, I'm finally living like it.